My name is Natalie,
Hi, my name's Maria.
Hi, I'm Sasha.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler.
and this is our senior project, Connecting Through Nature. So, for our first episode, we just want to do an introduction of what nature means to us, why we're doing this project, why we're going to create connections. And yeah, so does anybody want to start with their first story as to like a a memory, like a big memory why nature has healed them almost, or what made nature important to them?
I can go first. I grew up in Sarasota, so it's like very beachy. I live like 10 minutes away from the beach, so I always grew up going to the beach, and we have a lot of like parks by us and gardens. Um, so I always just loved the beach and the nature. But I once I got into like middle school, we started doing a lot more like field trips to like Moat Marine and seeing all like the animals in the ocean. And we would do like we'd go like on boats to like see the mangroves. Like once I like started getting into middle school, we started doing field trips that involved like nature and like being on those like field trips, just learning about it and then also seeing like the trash in like our community kind of like made it sad because like we're learning about this beautiful like environment, but then seeing it like all like not being taken care of. And like senior year, I had a marine biology class, and like every week we would go on a boat and like we would try to like see what we could catch. And a lot of the time it was just like trash. And it just like kind of it was like really sad because like I think when I was younger and I would go to the beach and I'd do all these things, I never really realized like I was just like, oh, like the beach is so fun and pretty. But I don't realize like the actual trash like that's in it that you probably don't realize. So I guess it affected me more because I was like, I love this place. I grew up going, and like now that I'm older, I'm realizing that like people aren't taking care of it, and like it's really sad like growing up and seeing that like it's just not being taken care of. So I think that kind of made me want to like connect more with nature, see what it is I could do, and like talk to the community, I guess, about how we can all like work with like helping it, I guess.
When you took that class, what grade was that? Feel-
Um, the marine biology class was it was either my sophomore or my junior year of high school.
That's really cool
And
that you guys got to go out on a boat and
yeah, and then my senior year of high school, I took an agriculture class. So like we were able to like go out and like garden our own stuff and like just kind of just be out with nature. And like sometimes he was like, if you guys don't feel like doing anything, if you guys are having a stressful day, just like relax and like meditate. And like it was a very nice class because it was just like an easygoing like being with nature. So I took that my senior year. And I kind of just took it because I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I was like, okay, it might just be like an easy A. And like, although it was, I still was able to learn a lot from it and like actually enjoy it.
do you feel like since you had that class, you've done anything more after it? Like you've continued to pursue cleaning up the beach or
I have, but not probably as much as I would want to.
Mhm.
Like I'll do it on occasion, or if I go out and I notice it, I'll pick it up. And like I've done one like me and my friend like we just like went like one day and we're like cleaning up, but I feel like I haven't probably contributed as much as I probably want to
Yeah.
or like say I will. So that's I think kind of what this class I feel like is pushing me to do because like I've always wanted to and I just kind of make excuses, and I feel like with this class I'm like, you know what? Like no, it's something I've wanted to do. Let me actually like go ahead and do it.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I feel like what this class is teaching us too is not necessarily just because it's not a preservation nature class, it's creating the connections of different fields. So it's like, oh, there's so many different things that you could do for nature that isn't just, oh, cleaning up trash or so it's pretty interesting. I really liked your story.
Thanks.
Agreed. Well, I can go next.
Okay.
What led me to nature, I would say would be my mental health. I think especially in America, the rates of depression is going pretty high. And I think a lot of that has to do with our environment, um, being in the city, being in a fast-paced environment, it's always go, 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 and you don't really have the time to sit and reflect. And like you were saying, Maria, with your class that you were able to go and your teacher was telling you, to just kind of take a moment. If you're ever feeling stressed, to just kind of take a moment and meditate and breathe. Like, I think, when I think about school, and what we were taught as kids, I feel that there should be more classes like that for us to focus more on meditating and like holistic health, health in a different way than what we've been taught. So that's essentially what led me down the path to nature is my mental health, feeling like, you know, I didn't have a grasp on the world, feeling like things weren't working out for me. But once I'm able to get in nature and just sit with it and just sit with myself, I feel more alive. I feel more sure of myself and I'm happier, So I think, like I said, nature, I think we just need to go back to nature, a lot of us, because we don't even, we talked about this off camera, off record, but the fact that many of us that are Gen Z and even like younger millennials, we don't really have a connection to nature. We don't really talk about it much. A lot of what our experiences are in life is about working a 9 to 5, social media. It's like this fast-paced environment. And in moving in fast pace, it keeps us from, like I said, it's just, basically the same thing, sitting with ourselves and just taking time to enjoy the moment, being in the present moment. So, yeah, that's basically why I chose this topic.
No, that was really great, honestly, because I'm thinking about what you're saying, and it's when you see people walking down the street on their phones constantly,
Mhm.
and I feel the same way. Like I feel like I spend a lot of time on my phone in my bed, and
Mhm.
I feel better in the morning if I get up and I go outside and I sit on my porch, or even if I just open my window to let the sunlight in. And I feel like
Mhm.
you're right, it is very important that we push that message onto the younger generation because our generation has been so affected by technology. And it's so different now. And like my mom tells me, there used to be on TV when she was growing up, there was like a news ad at like 8, and it was like, are your children home? Do you know where your children are? It's 8 p.m. Like that's so crazy that
Yeah.
Right.
people would just be outside doing things, and it was no, it's a good and a bad thing, but they definitely did have more connection to being outside, being in the sun, playing, and now I feel like I see at dinner I see kids on iPads. It's pretty,
Right.
yeah.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And like with the mental like health, I like a few years ago, like it started affecting me and I was just kind of like I like first took it, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be in bed, not doing anything. And then I was kind of like, I'm kind of just tired of this. Like I need something else. And like literally just like going on little walks. Like there's a park nearby, like here on campus, and like I would just go walk and like listen to music or walk and talk to my friends. And like it's crazy how much like the difference of like walking outside and talking to a friend versus like laying in bed and talking to a friend can like make and like I'm like, why don't I do this more often? You know, like it really does help. Like it brings so much like serotonin without even like realizing it. And like I remember like as a little kid, literally I would come home from school and like I would like put my bags down and then immediately go outside to like hang out with like my neighbors and we would just like be hanging outside all the time playing tag or whatever. And like yeah, nowadays I feel like it's just no one is outside, no one's having like that time. They're always just like on TikTok. I feel like a lot of younger
Mhm.
kids are on TikTok and like don't like really appreciate our nature.
Yeah. So, in putting that, and sorry, Tyler, you haven't spoken yet.
Yeah,
So,
no worries.
hopefully you can talk. But um, I feel like we should find a way to bridge that gap. You know what I mean? Because I love TikTok. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love TikTok. I love social media. I love all that stuff. But it's like we have to find ways, as as people who are passionate about nature, but also are young and partake in the youthful things like TikTok and other things. I think there has to be some way of bridging that gap and finding some kind of balance to, to both.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Sure, yeah, no, my bad I hadn't spoken yet. You guys mentioned the outdoors and the commercial about are your kids home yet? And I was just sitting here daydreaming about, the same thing being like 8 to 12 years old, getting home from school and immediately getting on the bike and going outside. And I just wanted to connect that to, I guess, my background and history with, nature in general. For me, it really started with the concept of the outdoors before I really got into the natural things. I liked being outside because growing up, I played a lot of sports. I was always on a baseball field, a soccer field. I played golf as well. And, at that time, what I enjoyed, I guess, kind of unconsciously about the outdoors nature was just, in that moment, was just the sunlight. And, you can go through like a biological perspective and talk about the effects of vitamin D and creating natural serotonin in you and just giving a good rejuvenating feeling. But when I truly started to connect with nature, I guess, is before all that, before I'm like, 12 years old, playing little league games and just going outside to go outside. That was an era of life where, my only responsibilities or stresses and pressures in the world were performing good in a baseball game and doing like an easy cereal box project. But as I got older and as everyone does, and we mature and we kind of start to have a little bit more weight on our shoulders with things like school being harder. I get to middle school and you have your first relationship dispute and whatnot. As adversity hit me, um, I'm someone who now I'm in a much different place. But in the beginning, I wasn't, I was someone who didn't quite deal well with adversity. Um, as a young kid, I was the kid that was just throwing toys on the floor because I got mad about something stupid and all. But as I got older, maybe in like towards the end of middle school, beginning of high school, so I'm from South Florida, and we're near like the beach, about a 25-minute drive from the beach, and I'm also right next to the Everglades. And we have there's a park nearby my house called like the Loxahatchee Wildlife Preserve Center, which is basically the Everglades, and there's a berm with I'm trying to describe it where it sounds prettier than just the swamp of the Everglades with alligators and stuff. But I used to go there like towards the sunset to just go there with friends, hang out and do whatever there. And that's when I started to kind of slow things down and start to take things in a natural aspect. We were out there enjoying a sunset, enjoying looking at bodies of water. And, as I grew on, and like I said, with the adversity, that started to become something that I started to turn towards as a sense of grounding and, mental health preservation. So, nature to me has been, it's been more than just the scenery. I see it definitely as something I turn to like for peace. And particularly it's like oceans and bodies of water. And what is it about it? Like, it's like when you're standing at the edge of an ocean and you see, waves and it could be like a high tide day, it can seem chaotic, but something about it is like it's still rhythmic, it's unpredictable, but it's still rhythmic and it inspires me to find a sense of like comfort in the chaos kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I feel like we get so lost in like our day-to-day life and like stress with school or relationships or drama with friends or anything that like having that time, it's like you get to like soak everything in and be like, okay, like everything's like at peace, like everything will work out the way it will, but like we get so lost with like doing other things that we don't even take time to like really grasp it and like that like going to the ocean and stuff like that's definitely like whenever I'm back home I just like go see the sunset and just like really like almost like days into like the ocean and I'm like whoa like this really is like what I'm looking at like it's crazy like I forget what I was even stressed about like 2 minutes ago.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And like the great part about it and enjoying nature landscapes like that, like I'm gonna bring this back to like how you guys mentioned technology and social media and TikToks. As much as I enjoy, like I also enjoy, just sitting in bed and doing a bunch of scrolls. that whole process, while, it can seem soothing to us and all, it really is just kind of doing it in almost like the wrong way because you're there and kind of just scrolling every 6 seconds, getting just bursts of instant gratification. Whereas when you look for the same thing except in a nature scenery, like, the ocean's not going anywhere, the sun's not going anywhere. You kind of just get to be there and slow things down rather than go for the next thing in the next 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. Agreed.
That was really nice. Honestly, that was very well thought out. So yeah,
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like for the connection I'm making between all of your stories is that mental health is really just nature is a big cure almost for mental health. Like that's really what I'm noticing throughout all these stories. So
What about your story, Natalie? Did you get to speak yet? I think you did. I can't remember.
not really. And not after I listened to everybody's stories, I'm like, oh my God, I literally have nothing. Like Maria really popped off at first, and then you were talking about like holistic health. I was like, then Tyler
That's
comes
the
with this
cool thing
bullshit.
about this is that like we all have different experiences, you know? So that's what I
Hmm.
like about like that the four of us are able to talk about it because like it puts it into like a different perspective that you never even thought about.
Yeah. Like I have my notes here, and I literally said for my story, it says, the mud walk. Like that's literally all I have written. As a kid, I don't remember, like I don't know if you guys did that. It seems like most of y'all are from Florida, but we did the mud walk in Central Florida, and that was pretty cool. I also did grow up on a farm, and that
Okay.
was really neat. Yeah, honestly, like coming home and going to feed the horses at night, feeding the horses in the morning it was really peaceful. And I think growing up for me, my parents were very not strict about it, but they wanted us to play sports. They wanted us to do things, and I wish that I could have spent more time outside with the animals. But the time I did get to spend was really soothing and calming. And to this day, I still dream about that house almost every week, and how I wish I could go back and live that life again. So it really is um, a factor in your mental health. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have
Yeah.
any oh sorry, you go first because I
No,
was just gonna
okay.
ask a question, so you can go first.
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'll be quick, but I just wanted to add that it's nice that you mentioned, the animal aspect of nature. We all talked about like,
Mhm.
natural landscapes and things that are just there. Plants are living as well, but animals as well is another thing that I could have added as well. I don't know, something about connecting with animals and kind of is a good grounding feeling where you just, you said you're on a farm, you can sit there and look at a horse and just start thinking to yourself, oh, like this is awesome right now. I'm a living thing. This is a living thing right here. And we're sharing this experience of this farm and everything this world has to offer.
Very true. Yeah, very true. And I think also too, watching some of these animals, it's crazy because we, not specifically us, but just humanity has destroyed their homes and has destroyed these creatures that have no idea what it means to be almost self-aware, I guess. Like, does that make sense? I feel like that's also another thing of preservation. So we come to all these ideas and topics, but I think moving forward, the question is how do we spread this message? How do we preserve these sentiments that are pure to us?
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah.
there has to be ways of finding a balance between like old and new ideas. I feel like we're in a very interesting time in life because we have the internet, but we also have things that are still old ways that are still like prevalent. So we're in a very unique time where we as individuals can like be really innovative in the life that we want to see, like what we want to change in society. We have that capability to kind of figure that out within ourselves. um where I currently live, I just recently moved. everything is like, I want to say about 30 minutes away from me. And I'm not used to that. I'm more used to living in the city where I can order things quickly and it comes quickly. And so I also want, as the episodes go on, want to discuss that as well, like the difference, between fast living and slow living. But there's an Aldi because I order food. And with Aldi's, they actually no longer have plastic. Well, they never had plastic bags. Did they? I don't know. Maybe
I
they
don't
did, but
know. I know you have to
they
like
no
get
longer
your own,
have plastic.
take your own bags. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the businesses that are starting to practice more sustainability and what they're offering. I think Sprouts as well. Sprouts, I don't know if I can find one of their bags, but they have these really thick bags that are recyclable, and so you're not really supposed to like throw them away because they're very thick. So I'm just kind of noticing companies that are starting to kind of bridge that gap a little bit when it comes to
Oh no. Is it just me?
No, I think
That
you
happened on
cut out
mine
a
as well.
little.
So
Sasha, do you still have you?
okay. I hear you guys. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
okay. Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay, yeah, I think it's good now.
Yeah. So are there any other like businesses or brands or anything like that that you guys have seen that has bridged that gap to sustainability and, you know, kind of helping Mother Earth?
So not like directly a business or so company from what I can think of, like a business or company saying, "Hey, you guys should do this." But something that I do like is, like we talk about like the drawbacks of technology and how you can sit there and be stuck scrolling your phone and stuff. But it's important to, kind of see both sides of a coin sometimes and find the positive in things. And by where I'm going with that is that sometimes, during my scrolls, I see like, one of the wholesome TikToks with the wholesome song in the background and the narrator's in a field with a nice mountain backdrop. And he's like, everyone, go outside, slow down a lot. And for me, I think little things like that is an important and probably the most effective first step in like going towards the direction of bringing attention to caring about this, prevalent topic. Quote that I remember from the Lorax is, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. And so stuff like, that silly TikTok where the guy's like, go outside, little things like that. I mean, I watch it and then I don't think I actually went outside right after seeing it, but a part of me is like inspired to be like, you know what? Yeah, I do need to go slow down, enjoy those things.
Yeah, you ate with that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, you ate with that.
good.
I feel you though on that. Like honestly, I know my scrolling has gotten so bad because I do it every day and I'm like, okay, three more. And then I'm like, if I don't like this one, then I'm like, okay, five more. Like I don't know
That's
if y'all
ex-
do.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's
oh
exactly it though. Like the content is designed to have us doing that, whereas nature is not necessarily designed. It just exists to exist kind of thing. TikToks are and stuff like that are designed to get our attention and make us want more. Whereas slow down and look at natural things, it really doesn't have those kind of intentions on anyone. There really are no intentions. Like you get whatever you want from it, really.
True.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy how there's so, like you just see so many things online. I feel like I know this is so stupid, but I saw this post that was like we were never meant to see this many baddies in real life, like or online. Like you're only supposed to see like two or three, like 10 out of 10
Maybe
in
in a
real life.
year or
Yeah,
something.
and now it's
Yeah.
like at the scroll, but it really is like that. It's crazy how everything is at the touch of a button, and I feel like we forget to enjoy the moment and go outside and breathe and be in the sun, do things that bring us like biological joy, like Sasha said, serotonin, or so it's crazy.
I also think that dang it, there was something that I wanted to bounce off of what you said, Natalie. Um, oh, I cannot remember what it was. Ah, I hate when that happens. I can't remember. It's gone.
Was
It
it the
left me.
what else? Was it the baddies or was it the?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It was exactly that. I feel that there's this overconsumption that we as a society are getting into. I think that we're consuming too much, and not just social media, but just things.
Mhm.
Like it's like this overconsumption, like almost in a kind of greed in a way, you know, almost feeling like we need more to feel whole or feel fulfilled,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And once again, I feel that when you're in nature, you don't feel those feelings. Like when you're connecting with an animal, you don't think about that stuff. You're just in the moment. You're just present in the moment, and you feel like you're one with nature. You feel like everything is like working for you and everything's flowing in this natural flow of what things are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
it's so true because I think about this like, why does somebody have like 40 Stanley Cups? You know, I see that. What is the purpose of that? But then also another connection to that is you're right, overconsumption. What happens to these things? They go into landfill. And what happens to our earth? It's just or all the clothes like Sheen for a good example or Temu, you know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And then these things end up in thrift stores and then they end up, like I said, in a landfill. And these things aren't biodegradable. So they yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I'm realizing. That's what I'm realizing. Everything's connected. So we have to kind of take a moment and think. Like I think the previous generation, maybe they were so focused on survival and focused on getting things, but like as the new generation, we have to kind of take a step back and think, all right, do we want to continue in these practices, or do we want to find ways of kind of making this planet better, like truly, not actually. Because I want to say, when I was in middle school, I was made aware of global warming, but for some reason, I didn't feel connected to it. Like it still felt like I felt removed from it in a way. But you know what I was thinking about, guys? Like just before we started this recording, started this meeting, I was thinking about how our planet is acting in ways that it hasn't been acting before. Like the hurricane that came last year in Florida. I've lived in Florida my entire life. Okay. Uh, that's never happened. That hurricane was so intense and scary. And usually I'm not afraid of the hurricanes that come through. And then what happened in California, that was really sad. And, you know, I hope everyone the best that went through that experience. But I just feel like natural disasters that are happening in our planet is for a reason, and we have to kind of take a look at that and figure why. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can still hear you. Yeah, yeah. The camera was a little choppy, but we
Okay, but yeah, okay, yeah. So just making that correlation with, oh, like all these things that are happening naturally in our earth, like even in Florida, there was snow. It was snowing in Florida.
Yeah,
Did you guys hear about that?
I did,
Hmm.
yeah, I
yeah,
did hear about that. And some people were like, well, you know, it's happened before, like in the 60s or what, I don't know what the actual date was. But it is interesting to see because it's like these drastic changes. Like people be like, oh, global warming is just like the earth heating up. But it's not just like, it's not that. And and global warming, what it does is it causes extreme weather changes just like that, like it's snowing in Florida. Yeah, so it is a little, I don't know what the specific facts are on those things, but it is a little
Hmm.
weird to see that.
Something to think about, something to consider. Because yeah, you never know.
Absolutely. So
yeah, I agree. Especially with the hurricane, it like again, like I grew up like born and raised here in Florida, and like never have been scared of hurricanes until like that one. And I don't know, like one, it was like really bad, and two, it was in my like hometown area. So like going home and seeing like my beaches and everything like pretty much destroyed. Like unfortunately, like as much as I have been connecting with nature since like about high school, I don't think I grasped the situation until unfortunately it happened to me. And that's something that I also want to work on. It's like you shouldn't be affected to care. And that's what I
Right.
think a lot of people like don't really realize. So then when the whole thing in California happened, like I'm like, I could not imagine going through that. Like that was like scary. So it's like I'm like trying to be like, I guess, yeah, learn more, like put yourself in their position, like you shouldn't have to be affected to like care or want to make a difference. And like I think the hurricane really got like made me open my eyes to like that as well.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, back to what Sasha was saying about like how we've had this recent surge of almost, abnormal things happening in nature. You can honestly interpret that as some sort of like, nature's way of saying that's a call to action to us. Like, hey, humans, you guys got to do something. You guys are messing things up. I don't know if you guys saw the video is going around recently of like the anglefish, I think it's called the anglefish, just like swimming up. And I saw it on Twitter and a bunch of
Yes,
people
yes.
comment.
And it was like it said
Everyone comments like, "Oh yeah, like fish don't behave like that. Like, why is it doing that?" And some
Wow.
people are like, "Oh, like that's the fish's way of saying, hey, this place is getting messed up and we need to do something about it."
I did see that. It
Wow.
said something like he wanted to see the light before he died.
Yeah, something like that.
It's so
I don't
terrible,
know. I was watching it. I watched the video like 2 a.m. and I was already like, with lack of sleep and tiredness of the day, I was like a little bit loopy. And I cried watching that video and just thinking of it. And I haven't cried since like LeBron left like the Miami Heat years ago.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's also me doom scrolling. Like that's what I'm saying. The fact that I saw that video that calling that stupid video or not stupid,
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah,
that
you could say
random.
you could say that it's stupid that we've all seen it and stuff, and that even the fact that we're talking about it, but at the same time, like it's necessary that people see stuff like that. And it's necessary. I
Mhm.
mean, people need a reason to care about things.
They do, yeah. I think the
Yeah.
one I
Little
saw
stuff
was
like
like a meme version, but yeah, yeah. So maybe mine was a little funnier, but yeah, you're right. It's crazy. But I think social media can be good for things like that because it brings awareness to
Awareness. Yeah.
to
that.
what's going on in our earth. But
Yeah.
it's got its
That's what we
pros
have
and
at our
cons.
hands, so that's what we might as well use.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
And honestly, going into this, I know like one of the questions is like, why should we care and why are we doing the things that we do? And like Sasha was saying, like when I learned about global warming back in elementary school, it was just a kind of surface level. Oh no, it's getting warm. That's not good. But through this conversation, what I'm realizing is, I'm realizing the importance of conservation and preserving these landscapes. It's not just to preserve the physicality of it, but it's to preserve like the benefits that each and every one of us have spoken that we have through nature. We talk about the grounding effects, the calming effects, and if we let nature die down and that go to bad, then it's not just that we're losing, it's, the effects on people that we're losing.
Yeah. That's true.
Absolutely. I was thinking for after going into this episode, I know we had talked about next episode was going to be like a historic thing, but now after everything we've talked about, I feel like our next episode should be instead of the third one being the mental health holistic medicine, I think we should have for the second one, and then the third one, I feel like we all should come up with a plan moving
Hmm.
forward as to something that we could do, because I'm listening to all of us talk about these things and we're like, oh, this needs to change, this needs to change. But I think maybe for the last episode it would be a good idea to everybody put in their input on like a plan that they have, whether it's just you like as yourself doing something to change
Hmm.
outside or to preserve the earth. I feel like that might be a better idea after listening to what everybody has been saying. So
Yeah, I
I
agree.
agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
I
Well.
think we covered everything.
I think so too. I mean, does
I think
anyone
we
else have
yapped
any
pretty
other
good.
questions? I feel like, yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think we
Yeah, I mean, before we even directly go into our call to actions and things that we can do, I think just this episode alone, I mean, not to toot our own horns, but if I'm watching this episode and I'm hearing what we are saying about all this stuff, I might feel a little bit inspired and,
motivated.
motivated to care about this stuff as much as we do.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
agreed. Absolutely.
So, all right.
Alrighty then.
Well, awesome. This is our senior project. UCF 25 Interdisciplinary Studies.
Oh, nights.
All right, guys. Well, it was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the next episode and us talking because this was definitely beneficial. And I think this will help people, like you said, Tyler, um, be more inspired to preserve the earth, preserve our home, because essentially the earth is our home ultimately. So we got to take better care of our home.
Absolutely.
And if we do that, maybe it will take better care of us and send us less hurricanes and fires and stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely. All right. Awesome, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you
Right.
guys.
Guys.
Have a nice day.